Everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people, that's Worimi, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides, and the universal energies. Okay, after a couple of gossipy readings, I do apologise for the sweat dripping off me at the moment. It's 41 degrees outside at the moment. Don't know what it is inside, but it's a lot cooler. Oh, that was Spot disappearing up the hallway. So that's 105 Fahrenheit or something. Huge electrical storm, like massive electrical storm came through the area apparently last week while I was away. I think there was about 230,000 houses that were without electricity for a couple of days, except for those like my neighbour who's had solar and a battery on. And what happened is it's knocked something in the aircon, and of course, because this is the first day we've been running the aircon, since the storm, the fans are working, the removing the moisture from the air is working. It's not, so it's tolerable, but so the word's been put out, and the repairers are coming. Hopefully, in the next couple of days, we are looking a big change coming through this evening, and then it'll be cooler for the rest of the week, going into next week. Okay, what I want to have a look at is, oh gosh, why did that one flick up at me? It's the usual. Those two flicked up at me. Yeah, this is the times we're in at the moment. All this is being exposed. Now, what I want to have a look at is, it was quite interesting. I did a reading the other day while I was at my mum's over in New Zealand, and she is doing fabulously. So I do apologise if anyone mistook what I had written on my community page with the photo with my mum. Fully hale and hearty and doing amazingly. And she was doing so well that I could come home again and leave her with the family that are over there. The reason why I was over there is my family that's all in New Zealand. They are either working full time or they've got young children that they're looking at, etc. Nobody can sort of drop everything and be with my mum as required, except for me. Okay, really interesting. I did a reading about escaping from narcissistic, or I mentioned about escaping from narcissistic relationships. I had been married before. Actually had wedding anniversary with my husband on Sunday. What was it? 24 years we've been married. But my first marriage, married very young to a narcissist who, those that have been in those sorts of relationships know they are incredibly charming until they get you in their power. And then they do everything they can to undermine you and put the blame on you for everything. Everything's always your fault, even if they, mine never physically abused me, but emotionally and financially, yes. But it was always my fault. I didn't earn enough. I didn't clean well enough. I wasn't good enough. It didn't matter what I did. It was never right. It was never good enough, etc. And they know how to work it to undermine you to a certain point where you believe it and you try harder and to be the best you can in the relationship, but it doesn't matter how good you are, it will never be good enough because it's not about you, wasn't about me, it is about them, and it's about control, and it's about abuse, and it's about feelings within themselves that they haven't dealt with, often brought up from their childhood. My ex-husband had a very domineering mother. Again, butter wouldn't melt on her mouth. Good Catholic upbringing, but she thought she was, because she went to church every Sunday, she was going to heaven. But boy, oh boy, the other 6.5 days of the week, I'm just telling you. So yeah, we're talking about here the abuse of relationships, the abuse of power, the win at any cost, etc. Now, I honestly feel that those of us that have been in those sorts of situations, and there are a lot of us, and it doesn't matter whether it was a parent, whether it was a partner, whether it was a boss, whether it was a sibling, whether it was anybody in our lives, all of us that have been in that sort of relationship in any way and have managed to get out, I am really feeling that we are here to show the way. We are here to be an example of abuse survivors, because at the moment what's going on in the US with Felon 45 and the cult of Felon 45 is abuse. It is an abusive relationship, and he is really good. Now, I can't remember who I watched that said this, that he will make your life. Now, who was it? Can't remember. That do not be surprised if he tanks the US economy, if he tanks the job market, if he there's no price of everything goes up, all because of his actions, and we sort of wake up and go, my goodness, things went so bad under Biden. But do not be surprised if he tanks everything and then rides in as the white knight with a check. So this is what the far right do. This is their modus operandi, is they will cause the situation, whether it be causing wars in other countries that create illegal immigration or just undocumented immigration. For example, what's going on in Germany. There's the far right, I'm not saying the German far right, but far right elements in other parts of the world, i.e. Russia and Syria, and Netanyahu in Gaza, etc., and a lot of what's going on in Africa. They are causing these issues, which then create this human migration, because what else are you going to do? And then they sort of write in regards to the undocumented immigrants and say, oh my goodness, look how awful it is. Instead of actually providing housing and education and care for these people so they can become contributing parts of society, they vilify them, they mother them, they create divisiveness, and then they write in and say, we can fix it. We can fix it. We'll deport them in manacles on very expensive planes, and we'll just round them all up in schools and churches, etc. So this is what Trump's doing. He's creating the issues, and then he's offering a solution. Now, there will be people that just won't see that he's creating the issues. They'll only see the solution side. But if you've been in one of these relationships and you've gotten out, you will see it clearly. It's similar to you being in an abusive narcissistic relationship where you get hit and you end up with black eye or whatever it is, and you tell people, I deserved it, I said, didn't have his dinner ready on time, I told him that I didn't feel like it tonight, or whatever it is, and you end up with the black eye. So you make excuses to other people about it, but at the same time, if you are thinking about he hit me, they will often the perpetrator will often say, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. First of all, you were the one to cause it, but I didn't mean to, and I'll never do it again." So again, they are causing the situation, and they are coming in with a solution. So I really, really, really feel that those of us that have been through this, especially us light workers, that's me and you, are here to light the way when we go through this. Poker shuffling. This is about the secrets coming to the surface and being revealed. This abuse, this it can't be ignored any longer. It's getting to the stage where writing in with a check is not going to cut it. And we're going to end up with tower moment, because the situation that this perpetrator has instigated and those behind him were built on shaky foundations. But I really, really feel that those of us that have been through this, we're fully awake to what's happening and why it's happening and what they're doing, and we will be here to share our message or share our empathy and our compassion for those that are coming out of that situation. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the energies. Show me the energies. This is my Gilded Tarot Royale. Actually, show me. Okay, thank you. I'm going to start off first of all just to have a look. Oh, one thing that caught my attention in regards shuffle, 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 and look what's still on the bottom. I don't know if this is possible to do, but I was really wondering in regards to the schools, because there's a couple of things here. Is that, first of all, one of my beautiful viewers emailed me and said they live in a very red district, and they're in a small community, and they know that it's a red community, but they do not talk about religion and politics in their community, and everybody gets along. Now that just shows, like, everyone, they're not chummy, chummy, chummy necessarily, but they get along and they look after each other and they stand up for each other when somebody needs something. And this is really re-emphasizing to me that when we get back to the community level, this is about what is tearing these communities apart are external factors. Religion and politics, politic divisiveness, which is what the Conservatives are doing, and religion are they're outside, they're external, they're not from within, and they're not what makes a strong community. But it's these external factors that are based in control and in power and seizing power that are causing the divisiveness in these communities. So I just wanted to point that out. I don't quite know why I felt it was relevant. It just, my guides were just telling me that just tell that story. So very much about that it just shows how the external that does not affect you on a day-to-day basis is causing the division. But what I was also thinking about the other day when I was reading about the ICE agents going into schools and taking kids, etc., I was reminded of the knitting nannies or the knitting nanas. Now, I looked them up and they seem to be more of a protest group, but I got the vision of grandmas or just older, when I say older, my age and a little bit older, taking their knitting or their crochet or their book reading or whatever it is and going down to the schools, down to these churches and sitting in them and becoming a do not cross line. So the knitting nanas are very much protest groups, and it started out in this manner. Sitting there, innocently, knitting a scarf. Whole heap of them. 10, 5, 10, 15, however many. Just sitting there, having a social time. But it was their protest, because if something like the ICE agents came in and started arresting these grandmas that are doing nothing but a bit of crochet, that would go over really, really poorly. So when I say, is there something you can do, it may be as simple as that. Organise a couple of friends and get them to bring a couple of friends and go and sit in these vulnerable locations and become a human shield through passive action. It's just something that crossed my mind. Okay, so let's have it. Show me the energies of those of us that have been there, done that. Show me the energies of what are we bringing? Show me the energies of what we need to know. Okay, they're telling me I've got the wrong day. Put that there, grab my Lightseers Tarot. Sorry about that. I did think that I should have probably got this one first, but I chose not to. I went with my familiar. Okay. Show me the energy that we need to know. The energy that... Okay, thank you. They got me to choose that Gilded Tarot Royale deck because of those particular cards that it showed. There was the Tower and there was... I can't remember what the other one was. When I'm in a reading, I have no idea what I've said and done and seen. Let's have a look. What is the energy we need, those of us that have come out of these relationships on a small scale, but now the whole country, the whole world is struggling with these issues. Show me what's the energy we need. The only constant is change. The only constant in life is that life changes. Show me what's the energy we need. Thank you. Right, I've got a card that's flipped out, so it's taken me so long to draw some cards. The Knight of Cups. Putting ourselves forward. Not forcing ourselves on anybody. This is just about us sharing our stories. This is about bearing gifts. I'm going to say gifts of compassion. A willingness to sit and listen to what others have to share with us. This is not forcing ourselves on anybody else. This is not about us demanding that they listen. It's not about challenging. This is about just being there, being the example, being the kind heart, the kind face, the open ear, the non-judgmental ear, and allowing them to come to us is what I'm getting here. Allowing, just being the example and allowing them to come to us. Pigs can fly. I'm just going to put it out there. I don't know if you can see the little piggy up the top there. Pigs can fly. This is an emotion card. This is about integrity and this is about love. And this is about opening your heart and trusting in the good of others. And it may take you by surprise. On an emotional level, you would actually be quite surprised about how many are starting to wake up, but they don't know what to do or where to go or who to talk to or just to talk it through, because they may still have family or friends that are still in the cult, but they're seeking somebody to make a connection with. If you put it forward with love and integrity and no judgment, and you are open emotionally to hear what they have to share as they work through. Now, I'm not saying put yourself in a vulnerable position that's triggering or a position where it's dangerous for you, but don't be surprised at the response that you get. If you come from a place of love and you come from a place of honesty and integrity. The energies behind the scenes, absolutely, it's a nightmare. Despair, anguish, nightmare. But we've got the white raven here, and the white raven is coming through to dispel the darkness. We're going through a period of massive change on the world scale. And as those that are trying desperately to cling on to their power and wealth and domination and aggressiveness, etc., through aggressiveness and bullying and narcissistic ownership, etc., as they lose their grip, they will become more desperate. It will seem in the short term to be worse, But that tells you that it's the tipping point, because this change is coming through to dispel the Page of Swords. We have been walking this tightrope, this sword, sharp, ouch, 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 over this chasm that threatens to suck us down, to plunge us to our deaths, except, pretty much. But we've been through this experience and we've come out the other side, and we know how to deal with it, and we've got ideas that we can bring forward to our community, to share with our community. And one of the first things is being educated. Now, I am wondering whether volunteering at schools, especially primary schools, the younger infants, to read to them. Just read, even if they don't understand the words. But putting in their minds that education that they can learn. But we've been through this, and it is our past, it is our knowledge that is keeping us buoyed, that is keeping us above the fray, that will see us through to the other side. We need to, as a collective, stop feeding the darkness. Emotionally and spiritually, we've been feeding this darkness in the hope that if we pour enough of ourselves emotionally and spiritually down into this well, this endless pit, this black hole, that will somehow fill it and the light will come to the surface and it will be okay. No, we need to stop feeding it. We need to stop watching mainstream media. We need to stop buying from the likes of Bezos and Facebook Marketplace and any of those other big right-wing supporting places. I don't know all of them. I'm sure there's online where you can find it, and there's coming for a cuddle. And turn our attention to the magic that we're missing, the elements of our society that we are missing, the simple things that are beautiful and magical. Three of Swords, the grief card. Part of going through this process is grief. Now, when the thing that I refused to acknowledge was legal, where that was in the rotunda, I actually went ahead because my bias was getting in my way that surely, because I kept coming up with, they know stuff, they've got information, they know stuff. Surely, they're going to stop it, because we knew it was going to be horrific. When it went ahead, the grief I went through. We need to acknowledge that grief. We need to acknowledge the feeling of betrayal and despair and loss and heartbreak, and go through all 7 stages of the grief of that, of whatever it is, so that we can come out the other side stronger, clearer, more decisive, more fired up. Now, I'm not saying fired up as in angry, I'm saying fired up as in, right, this is what I'm going to do. This is the action I can take. A calmer situation. So yes, acknowledge the grief of what is going on. Absolutely. Good cry in the bottom of the shower, never hurt anybody. Go out if you can find an open paddock somewhere and scream. Or into your pillow if you can't find an open paddock. Or set yourself up a boxing bag or something, take up kickboxing and let it all out. Tai Chi is brilliant as well if you're a little bit older like me and your joints are not into boxing. Whatever it takes. And acknowledge that there are 7 stages of grief. Look them up. Make sure you go through every single one of them to get to the other side. Because we're no good in this paralyzing despair. If we want to be the white raven coming through, we need to let go. We need to stop feeding the darkness. And we need to nurture all that is beautiful and all that is positive and all that we have to be grateful for, but also we need to take action. We've got ideas, we've been there, done that. Take action so that we can step onto the new ground. Judgment. The karma hanging over judgment. It's about allowing your soul spirit to sing and dance, connecting with your soul spirit in a positive manner, embracing path that it is taking you on. I know there's some really, really, really awful paths that are being forced upon people at the moment. I am not trying to excuse that at all. We sign up our soul contract before we come here to experience certain things, to take position in elements of this communal, and I'm talking worldwide, experiment of humanity. I know Denise Knight, gas chamber, myself, poisoned myself as a 13-year-old in a past life, testing herbal medicines, etc. We've all signed up to do some weird and awful paths. But we need to look at the good in everything. Now, if you're wondering about looking at the good, the Tattooist of Auschwitz, heart-rending, beautiful book. The Diary of Anne Frank, absolutely beautiful, 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 but devastating. These people did not feed the darkness. They looked at all that was good in their lives, no matter how small it was, and they fed and nurtured that magic. And that's what this card is asking you to do. And then we can move forward. We can shed protection, stability, financial help if we can. It's one of those, go into the coffee shop and pay for 3 coffees and take one, that sort of thing. It's not just physical, it can be financial as well. Go through your wardrobe, and if you've got clothes that you haven't worn for more than 2 years, give them away. Don't have to sell them. If you need the money, sell them, but sell them for something a price that people without a lot can afford. I'd rather give them away. Share them, because what goes around comes around. Together we move forward, slowly, steadily. The Empress. There is abundance for all. We are about to birth a new earth, a new Gaia, a new period in time, where your emotions, as a superhero Kate, once you've gone through this stage, where your emotions proudly tap into them to give you the superpower energy that you need. Tap into your feminine wisdom because we are entering into an age of abundance, an age of protecting Mother Earth, an age of togetherness, an age of healing on both levels. King of Pentacles, masculine protection, feminine renewal, feminine healing, masculine protection. Five of Swords. In this particular deck, this is very much about a need to change the internal self-talk. You are with yourself 24/7. Be very aware of what you are saying to yourself. There is no more powerful voice than the voice that is in your head. And only you can change it. Only you can own it. Only you can take responsibility of it. And if the voice is saying you're no good, there's nothing you can do, you're hopeless, you're a waste of space, why do you bother? Whatever awful things that repeat cycle voice in your head says, be aware of it. And it's wrong. This is very much about owning that voice, standing up to that voice and changing the rhetoric that you tell yourself. I'm on a disability pension, there's nothing I can do. Yes, I understand that. The house next to me that was being built when we lived up the valley on rural property, a big 20-ton digger driven by a guy with no legs. He drove it there with his low-loader truck, hopped out of the cab of his truck, bobbed along, hopped up into his unchained his digger, hopped up into the cab of the digger and drove it off the low loader, and away he went. He didn't think he was disabled. There's always, I'm not saying you need to do anything like that. What I'm saying is you need to change the internal self-talk from the negative of what you can't do to the positive of what you can. And whether you believe you can or you can't, you are correct. So you might as well can. Not easy. I'm just going to say it's not easy. I have been there. Part of this being in the narcissistic relationship is reinforcing the negative. I can't. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. If only I tried harder. Over and over and over and over again until you literally become a doormat. What happens is you reach a point where there is a line in the sand and that line gets crossed and you just no more. You'll find when you're in a narcissistic relationship, an abusive relationship, you'll make every excuse in the book. You will take it all upon yourself. Your family and friends from outside will try and rescue you. They can't, because until you reach that point where you decide for yourself, nothing anybody else says will make a difference. And when you reach that point, that's when you find that it kicks in, the internal dialogue kicks in and changes. But you can change it. You can change it first. Because here's a new beginning on offer. And it's beautiful. And it's full of abundance. That has roots for us to plant and sprouts for us to nurture. It's here. We've got the feminine healing energy. We've got the masculine protection energy. It's being offered to us. It's up to us whether we take it up or not. Part of this is very much we need to stop pouring ourselves into the darkness, into the black, thinking that if we watch every scrap of news, if we argue with every idiot on social media, whatever it is, that if we keep pouring ourselves down, trying to rescue others, perhaps, I'm not quite, whatever it is that you feel that you need to, spiritually and emotionally, absolutely sucking you dry because it's a bottomless pit. If we look away from the darkness, I'm not saying look away from those that need our help. I'm talking about if we do not feed this machine of bleak blackness with a false promise in it, if we don't feed it our emotions and our spirituality, and we turn our emotions and spirituality towards what we can do, the small elements of magic in our lives that we can nurture forward, we can make a huge difference. And then we can explain this to others. So, are you going to hop on your bike and move forward and take control of your life for you? Step into the serenity that it brings and the healing and being the inspiration and living a life of joy and celebration and in touch intimately with your spirituality and sharing the message. These are huge. If you feel like you can't, know that it is only a construct of your imagination. Yeah, there are some things we can't. I can't climb Mount Everest. Goodness me. I can't run a marathon. If I wanted to, I could train for it. The only thing holding me back is me. But I have no interest in doing either of those things. But this is very much if you see that you can't, look at it from, are you looking just, is it your perception that you can't? Is it your own thought process? Because swords are about the mind. Is it your own thought process that's holding you back? Is it your self-talk holding you back? Yeah, there's some things that I can't do. I can't rock climb. I have no interest in doing it. I can't surf, no interest in doing it. But if I did want to, the only thing holding me back would be me. This is about looking at yourself differently and protecting yourself from any negative messaging that comes your way, because you know within yourself that you have the light and you are worthy. The door is here to be opened. The key is here. The lock is here. The door is there to be opened. This is about stepping out of this restricted mind space and unlocking the door to the opportunities going forward, because they are here. They are there waiting for you. And this can be taking a brutal internal look at truth, putting the heart away, the emotions away, and looking honestly at the future that you want. Now, I'm really drawn to, I'm thinking about World War II with the victory gardens and the communities and the farm workers that just piled in and helped each other in your community. I'm not saying go and pick oranges for nothing, but looking after each other. I'm just seeing a vision of that. This is about putting the emotions to one side and looking with brutal honesty about what you can do and what future you want for yourself. Nobody can make you do anything you don't want to. Well, they can, but I can't, how do I put this? You don't have any control over anybody else's actions. You only have control over your own. And this is about going within and really having a good hard look about what is your truth, about what you want your future to look like. And it can be brutal and it can be painful and it can be uncover some honesties that you don't really sit well with you. I know when I got out of that narcissistic relationship and I look back and I'm horrified at how I treated other people, because what I was doing is I was projecting my pain onto others. And that's a huge step, is acknowledging that. And when you acknowledge it, you can let it go and you can move forward. You can let it go and you can step over the horizon into your new life. And together we bring about change on a huge scale. It's about taking off the blindfold and deciding what path forward you want to take. And are you going to follow the path where you plant these beautiful opportunities and nurture them to fruition? Or do you stay in competitive, tearing each other down? Personally, I'd rather step into the place of peace and serenity and calm and be a leader of peace and serenity and calm. A negotiator, a diplomat, not an argumentative, tearing each other down. And stepping into the light and the joy. Man, we covered a lot of ground there. What is going on is ghastly. I will not deny that. We cannot turn away from it. But if there is nothing you can do personally, once you've gone through the process, if there is nothing you can do except work on yourself to make yourself an inspirational light bringer, then that's all that can be asked of you. But I do like the idea of the knitting nanas, or the book reading nanas, or the aunties, or uncles that make these kids feel safe, even if just for a short time. Okay. Really do feel that those of us that have been through this situation are here, hold the light for those that come along afterwards. Love to you all. Take care.